Hello again everybody, and very warm welcome back to the channel. We are jumping straight in, pretty much cold and dark actually on the aircraft as well, so we're going to dive straight in, a bit of an impromptu stream today here at London Heathrow Airport, the new Uni Builds version 3, which is very nice indeed. Short delay, so sorry for a couple of minutes delay to the start of the stream today, though it is a little bit of a surprise for most of you, of course, but usual VATSIM problems where somebody spawned on top and didn't want to move. One of those things. So, cold and dark, we're off to Innsbruck today on the VATSIM network. We're flying our channel's airline, Osprey Airways. If you're new to the channel, hit like and subscribe as well. And say hello in the live chat. I'm just going to work through getting some power to the aircraft. Ground power, good. That is on, isn't it? I've done that, yep, good. Lovely stuff. Let's get those on. The windshield heat's on as well. Voice recorder to the on position. Let's turn those off. We don't need them on at the moment. Flight level 350 for our cruise. Cool. That'll do for the overhead bit for now. Juliet Charlie Mike, yes, if you do spawn on somebody on the VATSIM network, sometimes it can't be helped, but basically the general rule is you move. Yeah, some people slew. Some people, like myself, I don't like to slew because I worry it causes more problems than it needs to in the sim. So what I end up doing is going back to the menu and spawning again. What are we now? 3:30. We were going to do a slightly different route today, but the sheer headwinds for the route that we were going to do meant that we can't do it, sadly, because I'm a little bit short on time. Meta permitting, Birdman, yes, but the problem we've got there is the fact that 330. The winds and the weather at the moment in Innsbruck suggest a nice straight-in approach for the runway 26 runway instead. So, like a bit of a steep ILS, effectively. Let's continue with this while GSX is in the background working away. David, good afternoon. Matthew, Joey, Goofy, Zato, Mike. Hello, folks. Birdman, Juliet, Charlie, Mike. Andy, good afternoon, and Peter, welcome. If anyone is flying along, by the way, in Discord on the live stream section, I have put the routing for today. Do let us know if you are flying along, because that way I can wait at the end and watch people land. And I pinned that route now in the live chat too for you guys. Block fuel of 7,026 kilograms. Payload, I don't know what SimBrief has given us actually. 177 passengers, wowzers. Nice and full on Osprey Airways. And then we've got cargo 2.7, zero fuel weight of 59.0. It's interesting. Zero fuel weight is already above that though. Oh well. So we'll do 500. That'll do, close enough to the figures. That's the payload complete. Let's fire up. Aft fuel pump is on, so APU start. Down here, we can put our zero fuel weight of 59.2, wasn't it? My goodness, actually, it's probably worth me double checking this. So I will put the wrong data in. 59.2. Reserves, which is alternate plus fin res. Again, this is on the OFP inside the flight plan. Sim brief, FinRes plus alternate 2.3. And it suggested a cost index to run of 35 today. I might whack that up to 50. We've got enough fuel for it. Cruise winds, average 238 of 41. It's interesting.
Good morning.
Alright, we'll carry on. Flight level 350. It's probably because I haven't got a route in yet, actually. There we go. EGLL to LOWI. That'll be why. This is what happens. It's all been a rush. I've been trying to plan the stream actually for almost an hour, and we couldn't agree on the route to choose. Wesley, hello. Joseph, welcome aboard. Thanks for subscribing today. Find the most generic route in Flight Sim today. Hell yeah. Jack, no, we weren't going to. I did put it into Discord at well, 1 o'clock UK time-ish that we were going to go for it today and give it a go. We were going to create a stream of some sort. We just weren't sure what route. It's been a bit difficult to communicate on Discord because I'm having to use voice to text because my phone, I might have broke it yesterday at work and it doesn't work very well. 238 of 41. Let's try this now again. So it's gone in this time, that's good. Lap 5. 5.97. Do the park brake. And around about now we can look up here and get the APU gens on. Make sure the yaw damper is on now as well. Flick that across, have a little look at the APU gen. Make sure it is actually generating power for us. And then in a few seconds we can turn that onto the APU bleed onto on as well. But there's lots of pre-takeoff stuff to still to sort of think about. We need to add that routing in as well. So we're expecting the Detlin to Golf departure from runway 27 left. 27 left. Detlin to Golf. I think there's a tower controller online. There is 118.5. Happy days. And then while we're down here, we can... Oh, God. The seat is in the way. Here we go. We can turn the panel lights up. Actually, I'll turn the floodlights down a bit. A little bit overpowering, and get the main panel lights for the first officer sorted as well. So this is me trying to get this set up as quick as possible. Detling to Golf to Detling. Jackson, no worries, watching only today whilst doing quantum physics studies. My goodness, that's incredible. Good effort. Even the thought of that hurts my brain, so fair play to you if you can understand half of that stuff. It's incredible. L6 airway to Dover, then the upper level 9 airway to KONAN. Transition out of London's control airspace, and then Uniform Lima 607 to MATUG. Direct
Bravo 313, continue Bravo
BOMBI.
929, via November Bravo 2 Whiskey, line up from 27.
Tango 104 airway.
Bravo and link 29 via November Bravo 2 Whiskey, line up and wait.
Whiskey Lima Delta, BOR. Then Mike 867 to BAVAX. Zulu 106 to MANAL, and then Mike 736 to TULSI. Activate, and then we're in the star. So with that now we can add our V speeds. There we are. 157 at the 10.
Thanks, call you back, break. 3119 and manage Unicorn 122.8.
1-2.
123,
Auto brake RTO. Let's get the APU bleed up here.
Detling 2 Golf departure, squawk 5661.
Right, what else? It's all a rush. Navigraph. There's our routing for today. So Detling 2 Golf has a upper altitude of 6,000, so we can set that in the MCP like so. It's important we achieve that and hold it. Epsom's MDB of 316, we can tune that in as well, and then followed by, we can tune maybe VOR2 to Detling 117.3. Let's do that. So we've got 27 left, 1095.
KONAN 5 Papa Hotel, Heathrow Tower, hello, clear to Rotterdam, the Brooklands Park 7 Golf departure.
316.
4215.
Brooklands Park 7 Golf departure.
113.6 for the London VOR, and then Detling 1173.
73, request taxi.
073, thank you for
Like so.
hold short of the low panel.
The ATIS here at London Heathrow, it's information Zulu.
Speedbird 676, stand 511.
Departure 27 left, change to route 27 left and landing at 1500, transition level flight level 80, surface wind 300 degrees at 3 knots. Temperatures +1, dew point -3, QNH 9 at 8, 9 hectopascals.
Face south. Speedbird 676.
Sky 313, monitor Unicorn 122, destinate today.
Unicorn 122.8, thanks for the service, Sky 313.
Boarding complete. Let's prepare for pushback, but in the meantime we'll get our clearance at the same time. Heathrow Tower, good afternoon. Osprey 165 on stand 330, Boeing 737-800 with information Zulu, request IFR clearance to Innsbruck, please.
Osprey 165 Heathrow, hello, cleared Innsbruck, Detling 2 Golf departure, squawk 1146.
Cleared Innsbruck, Detling 2 Golf departure, squawk 1146, Osprey 165.
Osprey 165, correct.
We are ready for pushback.
We need to have a quick look through all of this. So, forward entry door is still open. Let's click remove chocks there. That's going to get that closed and get the jetty and stuff away as well. APU, well, bleed is now off anyway. Isolation valve is open.
Bypass pin inserted.
We need to do transponder, so let's set that. It's 1146. That's set. Good and loaded, bullet complete. Takeoff data set. Cruise altitude pressurization panel was set. We need to set the QNH, which was 9 at 8 9er. 9 at 8 9er. Make sure that is just set there as well. We're going to get the tanks on as required. Centre tanks are empty, so we don't need to turn those on. Flight directors are on. Radios are set. And ground equipment is clear. We've popped the anti-collision light on. Fuel pumps are on, packs are off. Ready for pushback. Osprey 165, request push start, stand 330.
Osprey 165, stand 330, push and start speed.
Push start approved, Osprey 165. No's right, it is right, isn't it? Yeah, because it's the kilo cul-de-sac. Brakes are off.
Push. All engines are clear.
where we find out I've forgotten something rather key. Let's see, that is all on, looking fine. Okay, yeah, let's monitor the N2.
Heathrow Tower, easy 45 for you check.
Easy 45 Heathrow Tower, hello, usability 5.
Thomas, hello, welcome.
Easy 45, request Alpha.
Thanks to you guys that were trying to vote in the members area of Discord for choosing the aircraft and stuff like that today. It didn't quite work out as planned though, so that's why we've ended up doing something, well, basically a rapid decision making effectively. Mike says, having flown a lot in the Fenix over the last few days, I have to say the PMDG is probably the best looking add-on for Microsoft Flight Simulator. Patrick was asking, why don't you use SimBrief Uplink or the routes? Good question. It's because it's a very last minute stream, basically. So I haven't had time to download and install the SimBrief flight plan and the weather and things like that too.
Thanks, got it now. You cleared Innsbruck, set out into Golf departure, squawk 6321.
Clear to Innsbruck to the Detlings 2 Golf departure.
Thomas, the routing was too long. Basically, at about 5 PM UK time, 10 to 5, I've got all of my food shopping for the week turning up, basically, and because of that, we had that bit of a discussion for about an hour in the members' lounge of Discord. We couldn't decide on anything, which is the problem. It got to 10 to 2. I said I was going to be streaming from 2. We still hadn't decided anything, so for that reason, Heathrow to Innsbruck it is. There's some mega headwinds over Europe today, basically. So flying from Frankfurt to Madrid, which is what we were going to do in the CRJ 1000, is going to take 20 minutes longer than it should do on average. So for that reason, we've ended up defaulting to this anyway. But it's a great route. Hopefully you guys will agree. Good afternoon, the commentator. I know, Andy, right? David, I didn't, yeah. If I'd have known that, we could have done that. Damn straight, Jack. Gens 1 and 2. Plus, you're seeing me
ready for taxi, please.
off guard with all of this too.
Taxi Alpha, hold short Foxtrot.
Taxi Alpha, hold short Foxtrot, speed burst 676.
Unlocking the nose gear.
APU's now off. We want flap 5. 1, 2, 3.
Left is clear.
Elevator trim is set. We're going to do control surface check, so fully right on the stick. Central, fully left. Central. Back.
Second left Alpha, hold short plane.
And forwards. Dylan, my goodness. That is brutal. Brussels to Washington with 150 knots near straight on headwind. So what's that added to your flight time? And also then I guess the next question is, do you have the fuel for it? Seven left 269 degrees. Make sure that's set, that's set, that's set. Auto thrust is on. And let's see, legs. Have a good trip from the controller. Let's get the controls visualizer ready.
Whiskey ready for push and start. 704 whiskey, Santa 509.
So we've got Volante fired up, Navigraph's ready, landing rate monitor is ready. Juliet Charlie Mike, yeah, perhaps we can do that tomorrow. Tomorrow's stream, by the way, might be a little bit earlier as well, because a few deliveries that I've been waiting for are coming at the usual time that we stream. Probe heat's on, wing anti-ice as required, we've done all those. LNAV, VNAV are armed, auto throttle armed, warning recall, check. That's all good and clear. We can hide that bottom screen. taxi lights can go on, flaps green and 5. Get the taxi charts ready here at Heathrow. Osprey 165, request taxi.
Osprey 165, first right Bravo, hold short Bravo 1.
First right Bravo, hold Bravo 1, Osprey 165. Mr. Transgender, hello to you, welcome. Dylan says his flight's added 40 minutes to the standard flight time so far. Whoa, that's crazy, long. Jack says, when do you turn your TCAS on? Usually before you line up on the runway. What it does then is it gives you the opportunity to, well, it doesn't clog up and give you sort of lots of warnings and things like that. We've got flow today, and that's given us the controls that you guys can see on the bottom left of your screens, and our beautiful Osprey Airways paint scheme as well. To be fair, we've not flown into Innsbruck for quite some time, have we? Oh, there's the hotel board. So, this is usually quite a busy little intersection here, and all these stands there at Heathrow usually are covered in American Airlines and Delta, and sometimes Cathay and Virgin as well. Commentator, yeah, lots of improvements actually to the way Heathrow looks generally, but performance has actually been optimised a little bit too, so it's very nice what they've been able to do with this. 330 degrees indicates that the wind for us is going to be coming from the north when we line up on 27 left, so we're probably going to stick into wind a little bit, but it's only 300 knots, so it's not too bad. Aurelio, hello to you, welcome on board.
Shuttle 73, monitor Unicom 122, decimate, bye-bye.
Over to you, Unicom 122,
In fact, what we'll do is we'll do this turn first. We'll go straight here before we think about pre-tuning Unicom. Andy says you won't need the aircon today. Cycled into work, couldn't feel my fingers by the end. We're expecting quite the cold snap again, aren't we, this week? Temperatures down to -10 in areas. I've got a warning for snow on my computer where I live at the moment.
KLM 5 Capital, next right, bar November Bravo 3, line up from right 27 left.
Line up 27 left, right, November Bravo 3.
Flight Tim Sim, hello! Of course, mine too. Jack, yeah, this is the new Unibuilds Heathrow version 3 for Microsoft Flight Simulator.
Bulgaria 852 Heathrow, hello, report your aircraft.
That's a great thing as well, as Doc is saying, and the Unibuilds manager, you can toggle things on and off, so ground clutter and different things basically, you can toggle on and off depending on your system requirements to help with performance. So if you find performance is a bit tricky, then what you can do is toggle off a few things like the landside ground vehicles, for example. Get rid of those. You rarely see them, and it will help save a few frames.
Bulgaria 852 correct, break KLM 5 Papa Hotel, the surface wind 30 degrees.
Mr. Transgender, this is a 737-800. Created by PMDG, incredible flight sim aircraft development aircraft creators. No word yet, Andrew, on the 900 release now.
Thank you, via Alpha, hold short of Lomond. Via Alpha, hold short of Lomond, speed 704.
Who knows? Hopefully it's this month. And Jack, yeah, Heathrow's pretty cute at the moment. Gatwick's got ground and tower online, I think it is. Old Terminal 2. Terminal 2's B gates. So our taxi instructions are Bravo hold Bravo
5 ready for taxi.
1.
EG45, straight ahead, Lima, hold November, Bravo 3.
Straight ahead, Lima, hold November, Bravo 3. Okay, thanks.
Not an aeroplane in sight. There's one there actually. Slight derate on takeoff.
Hotel, nothing further for you. Monitor Unicorn 122, decimate, bye-bye.
122, decimal 8 kilo 5, Papa, hold them, thank you.
No, Rab, it's almost back to normal now. There's one of my favourite parking spots, just here. Like to park here and watch the aircraft land on 27 right. So Bravo 1 is at the bottom of this. By the time we get there, I'd imagine we might be given additional clearance. I'm going to be lazy though. I'm going to turn that on now. Traffic on. We'll wait till we get to the runway. We'll use the clock today as well. Why not? So we're going to confirm runway 27 left for our departure, and we're going to then hit the clock as we enter. So, order brake is set RTO, V-speeds are checked, MCP nav data and radios are all set as well. We're going to pop that one onto ADF 1, and that is for Epsom 316.
Hydraulic issue. I'm trying to get a diagnosis. I'll be holding short for quite a while.
EG45, roger, clearance limit, Lima 1, report ready for further taxi.
EG45, performing ready for further taxi.
Suite 676, next right from November, Bravo 3, runway 27 left to surface and 30 degrees 3 knots, clear for takeoff.
From November, Bravo 3, line up, takeoff to 7 left, Seabird 676.
Osprey 165, continue Bravo, link 29, hold November, Bravo 2 Whiskey.
Continue Bravo, link 29 and hold November Bravo Whiskey. Is it for Osprey 165?
Osprey 165, it's November, Bravo 2 Whiskey, and behind the departing British Airways A320, you can line up via November, Bravo 2 Whiskey, 27 left behind.
Thank you. Via November Bravo 2 Whiskey and behind the departing British Airways A320, line up and wait behind 27 left, Osprey 165. Give a little ding for the crew. So link 29 is this one, a little kink right. November Bravo 2 Whiskey is the one directly ahead of us here on the left. And I'm going to pop the landing lights on as well because it's just easier for me to do that now. Fuel flow, we've just reset that. Jack, yeah, we'll be streaming tomorrow, but I think it's going to be an earlier time, to be totally honest. I'm not really sure. We need to think of a route effectively with
EG45, yeah, I'm ready to go. Ready for taxi.
clock starts.
EG45, roger.
We need to think of a route that I can kind of fit into my schedule tomorrow as well. I have to be finished by 1 PM tomorrow, which does change things slightly. So I'm not sure if I can pull tomorrow off. It's either going to be an evening stream or early morning, or we'll skip tomorrow. I haven't quite been able to work out. Effectively, I've got some large deliveries for the house, furniture related stuff basically that's being delivered, and because of that, once that is delivered, I'm kind of stuck having to sort all of that out, and I've got a delivery slot from 1 PM to 4 PM. I'm really not sure what we might be able to do for tomorrow. Park brake set. Failing that, we've got Thursday and Saturday streams. Get the charts ready for departure.
Bulgarian 852, thanks, stand 417, Persian start please.
Push start to Bulgaria.
Osprey is 676, nothing further for you, monitor uniform 122 decimate, good day.
116, that's all good, that's all fine, that's all set, trim is set.
EG45 behind the departing Osprey, Boeing 737-800, via Bravo 3.
Probably Jeff, yeah.
27 left behind.
That's the problem, isn't it?
EG45.
It'd be sod's law they'll come early.
Departing Osprey, line up on way. EG45, I've got no visual and there's no aircraft on that runway, so just let me know when they're out.
EG45, roger, hold position, I'll call you back. Break, Osprey 165 to surface line 3, so 0 degrees, 3 knots, and we're 27 left, clear for takeoff.
27 left, clear for takeoff, Osprey 165. Okay, stick forwards.
704 Whiskey, continue via Alpha, hold November Bravo 2 Echo.
Continue via Alpha, hold short November Bravo 2 Echo.
40%.
704 Whiskey.
KLM 683, stand 320 is ready for taxi.
And master caution is cleared.
11683,
That'll be the doors.
Foxtrot, second left on 12 Alpha, short left.
If it's 3 knots, I shouldn't expect too much of a cant into wind, to be honest, so we'll just play it by ear and see what happens.
EG45 bound November Bravo 3, line up from my 27 left.
And clear of the tail.
Bound November Bravo 3, line up from my 27 left.
You're up. Following the flight director down here.
Line up on 87 left, EG45.
Yeah, weird that the catering trucks were just going full Leroy Jenkins and going across.
36, correction 16 uniform Papa Heathrow Tower, hello, the...
I reckon we hand fly this first turn.
508, push and start speed facing south.
QNH989, push and start course faces south, stand 508, seatbelt 16 uniform Papa.
Osprey 165, Manatee Unicorn 122 decimate, good day.
Unicorn 1228, Osprey 165, thanks to the ATC, good day.
3704 Whiskey, found November Bravo 2 Echo, line up from way 27 left, caution, there's an intersection departure ahead. Via November Bravo.
Lots going on, lots going on. Epsom is on ADF1, I can see that down there. It's going to kind of come into view shortly. Through flaps retraction, Leroy Jenkins. Yeah, can you guys see all the little control inputs I'm making on the aeroplane? Water brake. Off. Go away, Microsoft Flight Simulator, and your silly pop-ups. So we're going to be straight for a little while, so let's turn that off, those off like so, and now we can go LNAV, VNAV, armed, CMD-A, engage. The autopilot's got it. Through 6, let's continue to 350. Before I press the altitude intervention, I'm just going to zoom out a little bit. To be fair, today actually I think I might be good pilot. I might level off at 6. And we'll fly the constraints of the SID instead. So I'll leave it at 350, but I won't press altitude intervention. I'll just leave it on VNAV path, because we've got a couple of aircraft flying around. I don't want to then climb into their path and get in their way. Bad drills. Oh, it's my computer trying to render in London. Badly. Maybe we'll stick to flight deck view for a few minutes. Left turn coming up because we're about to be overhead Epsom. So we're going to be flying off that direction in a moment. And then heading out over the North Sea in the English Channel as well. So we'll be looking out for those Aerosoft, the North Sea rig packs and all that sort of stuff as well. Patrick says, if you press altitude intervention, can you see that then somewhere? So, it's a good question. Let's have a little talk about that. So there's the altitude intervention tab. Effectively, on this SID, so it says 5000A. If I zoom out a little bit more, there's another one at Detling, which is would be 6,000 feet at Detling, basically. So to skip these constraints, what I do is I press altitude intervention for each constraint. So we can get away with this one here. So if we click it, watch Detling 32, it's skipped. So it's got rid of that constraint and it's now looking at the Detling 29 Alpha RNAV constraint at flight level 60. If we click it again, it's going to skip that one and have a little look at Delta 271 Echo. There you go. So basically you click it for each constraint you want it to overwrite. And we click it again and it will move to the next constraint at Detling, which is great. Now if we zoom in a bit and we think, you know what, we're clear of any aircraft around now, it's safe for us to continue to climb. What we can now do, Detling is the final altitude constraint waypoint. We click it, it's gone. And now we go to N1 mode. Engines spool up, we go to climb 2 profile, and we're on our way up to flight level 350 or whatever other altitude you have set. Then we can hide this for now. Through transition, let's go standard pressure. Huge altitude difference here, look at that. Mega. Yeah, Unicom is all about teamwork. Those of you who have seen my Unicom tutorial, we talk quite a bit about working to help one another out on the network to ensure that we can fly together quite nicely on the network as well, because if we're all climbing into each other or descending into each other and we're all trying to land at the same time, it just gets messy. Gear lever needs to go off. My mistake, should have done that earlier. We were hand flying that departure, to be fair. Pro pilots are off to Innsbruck. When was the last time we flew here? Quite a few months, isn't it, since we headed off into snowy Innsbruck? And actually, Wien radar is supposedly online as well, so we may get some ATC by the time we arrive. Very exciting. Keep smashing those likes, folks, as well, if you're enjoying today's live stream. What are the other ones that we were thinking of doing? We're going to do a CTAN operations flight. We're going to do, yeah, a CTAN flight in the 737, I think, unless CTAN have got A330s as well. We'll look at some routes. That's Fly UK's new US airline, virtual airline. Awesome livery. Very cool. So we're going to have a little look at that, fly one of their routes tomorrow for Fly UK. And then on Saturday we're looking at doing, which is the 21st of January, we're looking at maybe doing Canaries Virtual Airlines live operations event or Amsterdam overload. And we haven't worked out which one we're going to do yet. And that way we fly one Fly UK flight. We fly an event on VATSIM as well, always good fun. And then we're going to try and fly, if I can squeeze one in tomorrow maybe, we can work our way at trying to complete some of our backlog of our flight requests inside Discord too. Osprey Airways, that's our channel's virtual airline as well. Lots of people. We've got almost 300 pilots now, which is incredible. You can fly anywhere, any route, in any aircraft, as long as it can fit and it's fairly realistic or reasonable. It's all good. Innsbruck's webcam shows snow in real life. That's good because it's only really, well, in Microsoft Flight Simulator it's just permanently white, isn't it? I wish they would fix that. That would be quite handy. Top climb in 93 nautical miles apparently. According to that progress page, a little snippet off. We're going to be keeping an eye out for North Sea related stuff, oil rigs and everything else. Brian says there was snow and poor visibility at Geneva earlier. That's an airport that could do with some very nice scenery. Dan, hello buddy. Really good, thank you. Hope you're well. Hope you had a good Christmas and New Year and all that sort of stuff as well. Rab says night landing at Innsbruck. Is that possible? We'll find out. I think it will be dark by the time we arrive actually, won't it? So makes it more interesting, doesn't it? It'll be the first night landing we've done on the channel, I think. Badger, hello buddy. Stuttgart from Mahon. That's a very smooth touchdown. Nice. Morerio is asking, when flying a lock approach, do you set the vertical speed on the MCP with the charts from top of glide or just hand fly the descent? Well, whichever you prefer. If you want to really challenge yourself, then sure, you could turn it all off and hand fly the thing. Same with the SIDS as well, as we did there on departure, you can fly the SIDS. Here's Aerosoft's work already. Look at that, we've got some ships in the mouth of the Thames estuary. That's pretty cool. And Dover up ahead on the nose. So we should see some ships around there as well, because obviously Dover's quite a popular port. Basically on ship watch. You can see Dover Port there actually, which is that little bit there, that little recess that pops out.
Great channel with a lot of good information. Thank you.
Patrick, thanks buddy, you're more than welcome. Really generous of you, thank you for the tip. Peter, done. How are we doing? Contrails are out. Rab says Innsbruck was clear of snow the last time I landed. It may have been fixed in the beta. Interesting. Runways and taxiways were clear. Nice. That would be nice to see if that is the case. Our route today takes us over the water, over Brussels, south of Cologne. We'll go basically Brussels, straight line to Frankfurt, and then we're going to turn southwesterly over Munich, which is where we'll start our descent into Innsbruck. What we can do actually, using flow, although Dover is coming up, isn't it? We wanted to spot some shippy ships. There we are. I mean, there's one actually in the port, which is quite cool to see. David, that's really exciting then. Sounds like, so in the beta then that they've got this year, or for this, that's this month's beta, isn't it? It'll be releasing at the end of the month, or the start of February, is it? Confirm that snow is cleared from taxiways and the runway. Very cool indeed. Let's see if we can spot some more ships at Dover. There's a few. JRV Day West, hello to you. There's the port of Dover. Cornelius, welcome. And we can see lots of ships actually in quite an active shipping lane. So 1, 2, there's a third just there in the middle of the screen. This Aerosoft's North Sea pack is really good because it does give a bit of life to what is just a bit of empty blueness in the sim. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, my goodness. Loads of ships, 10, 11, 12, one just on the nose. 13, all in view at the moment. Look at that. As long as it's a big improvement, Rab, that's not too bad, is it? It's the fact that as it is at the moment, it's woefully unrealistic, so it would be nice to see it changed. Wonder what they look like again now if we zoom out a bit. Kind of look like it's pepper potted. There we are, grab that in a little screenshot. Rav says landed at Samadam once and couldn't see the runway. We've done that once as well, absolutely manic flight. Bring that heading bug all the way around, should have done that earlier on. Coxie coming up. Waypoint Kilo Oscar Kilo, that ordinarily would be where we, well at KONAN we'd be speaking to Brussels radar if they were online. But they are not. If we have a look at flow, one of the little scripts I've got is Vatsimatis, and we can see I think LOWI has got ATC via radar. Oh, it doesn't anymore. Well, that's that then. We'll just have to see what happens when we get there. Working away at trying to spec up and upgrade to my PC so I can improve the quality of the streams a little bit and the frames as well, maybe even push it. So we're running at 2K stream capability at the moment, but I might be looking to try and drop it to 1080p but improve the frames per second to 60 to have that slightly smoother experience on streams and in the actual sim itself perhaps. So I'm trying to toy with different specs and things like that. And some of the channel members have been helping over the last few days get a bit of a list compiled for various bits of equipment. There's Calais. For us to consider with a PC upgrade, but crazy money. I think the spec we were looking at £3.5 grand, £3,500, which is insane to get a system that is then future-proofed for at least a couple of years. Realistically, I think I'll be looking at sorting that nearer to summer. Or at least by the end of the year. I'll be looking at some of those DDR5 RAMs and some of these new CPUs and GPUs that are being released at the moment as well. Once the price stabilises and comes down a little bit, it'll be quite interesting to see how well they perform in the sim. Jack zoomed off at the end of runway Saturday streaming to Bergen, couldn't see Toffee. I think Insomnia says, love this approach into this airport. It's quite challenging if you don't get it spot on. Crikey, Brian, that's insane. Rab says, mine was just below that price last year. Brian, what spec do you have then? £5,400 rig. That's incredible. It's never cheap, is it? That's the thing. We were having a conversation at work the other day, a couple of guys that have PS5s and that sort of thing. And they were all talking about how when the new PS5 came out and they didn't want to spend £500 on a new console and some other bits. And then they made the fatal mistake of asking me how much my flight sim equipment costs. So they found out they were mortified. they were absolutely mortified. Probably the safest way to explain it. And mine, the current one that I'm using, only cost, I say only cost about £2,000 when I purchased it. And it was a bit mid-range at the time anyway. Arco says I've spent about that much about a year and a half ago. Definitely don't regret it. Got 32 gig of DDR5 RAM, Ryzen 5600X CPU, Sapphire 6800 XT GPU, and an 850 watt PSU. Nice. I mean, the big question I've got, I guess that you guys might know the answer to, is what is the difference between DDR5 and DDR4? A little bit of en route traffic, look. Crikey, Arku, yeah. Brian says he's got an i9 13900 kilo 4090, really fast RAM, ROG strips, motherboard, 1200 watt PSU, my goodness. An M2 drive and two 2TB SSDs. That sounds like an awesome setup. So are you able then, Brian, therefore to move into the realms of sort of 4K flight sim and all that sort of thing? And with that, do you get 4K and 60 frames per second quite smoothly? Because I've been toying with the idea of just buying a 3080. I know a lot of people enjoying those at the moment with quite good system stability and frames. Arjun says, got mine last month for about £2,600, i7 13700K, 32 gig of DDR5 RAM, 3080, and runs MSFS brilliantly. Now, I know MPS and Thomas, Fritz as well, so they were in Discord inside the members lounge section of the Discord server for our bronze, silver, gold frequent flyers. They were creating lists of different spec, and it was AMD versus Nvidia for graphics cards and CPUs and all that sort of stuff. It was quite interesting to see the variance in price, but also the sort of different spec that you have available. There's a lot available, isn't there? And it makes it quite tough to choose. Charlie Mike says he's got a 3080 Ti. It doesn't allow for full 4K at high settings. Interesting. Winds variable at 2 knots, few clouds 6,000, +3, -3 for the temperature and the dew point. QNH 9 at 8.5 hectopascals in Innsbruck. Wow. Brian says everything ultra and 5,760 times 1440, I think it is. Wow, my goodness. Getting 100+ frames with DLSS enabled. You noticing the blurriness coming through with that DLSS being enabled, or because your settings are so high it doesn't approach that perhaps? Yeah, that's the problem, Dan, isn't it? As you're saying there, 6 months later it's out of date, and you're then looking at the latest stuff again. It's the same with phones. Jack saying, I just love how far we've come from the days of FSX. Box buildings and block colours. Yeah, it's a huge, huge leap, isn't it? And we can blast around. I mean, look at that down there. It's incredible. Iron. That is insane. 49-inch ultra-wide Samsung Odyssey as well. I definitely wish I had £5.5 grand to spend on a PC like that, that's for sure. That's incredible. Really impressive. Arden says, I spent 6 months dithering between various options and just went for it when the price of a couple of bits was lower than normal. Seems to be luck of the draw with different pricing at the moment. Yeah, I think you're kind of bang on the money though. It's so hard to kind of predict where these pricing structures and the pricing strategies will go. Brian said, well, he's got a second computer. All his hardware is run from a second PC except for his Alpha Bravo and his rudder pedals. My goodness. Joey, no, I did not, to be fair. Didn't get around to it. I've heard mixed reviews. Some people saying that they didn't really glean anything extra beyond learning a bit of sort of the personal side of Robert, and everything else was kind of you can dig around and find out in the forums. So I haven't watched it myself though. Dan, yeah, those early days of MSFS when it just seemed really, really unstable. And I remember Sim Update 5 2 summers ago. My goodness, that was atrocious. And for about a month, 60% of the community couldn't run the sim without all sorts of crash to desktops and weird other stuff happening to the sim. It's incredible. What you're saying there, Brian, in a way means that I could keep this current PC that I've got. I could use that for my hardware thing. Mind you, that sounds quite bit techie, too techie for me. My ability, anyway, that's for sure. I think I would struggle with working out how to push the stream across into the other computer, if that makes sense. I can't get my head around how that works. Yeah, I think Sim Update 5 was the one that broke all the scenery as well, didn't it? It was the catalyst for everybody really, really pushing for Asobo to sort out their woefully inadequate beta system as well, or testing system. If you guys remember that. Oh god, Brian's got a third PC for streaming, an Avlasoft DFB. So basically you have a cockpit in your house / nuclear power station to run it. This is where Rolls-Royce got the idea from for the little mini nuclear power stations dotted all around the country. It's just from Brian's house. They flew over one day and saw a little mini substation thing. Thought we'll have a bit of that. Is that Paris Charles de Gaulle? No, that's going to be Brussels. Yes. There we are, that's Brussels Airport, folks. We've not been there for a while either. Dan, welcome back, buddy. Let's see if we can get that on a little screenshot, because Brussels is always good. Afternoon, Yoet. Let's see. That's quite a nice screenshot there. I'll have that one. Going. Zach's flying Faro, Portugal to Gatwick. Nice little route. Great in the summer as well. Mach 7.9 at the moment, so mind you, I'd probably round that up to Mach 8. But we've got, I'm conscious we've got 2 flights ahead of us, so we can't really ramp it up any higher. Ergy, fair enough. Could have done Frankfurt to Innsbruck with us. Oi oi Sledge, welcome, member for 20 months, Gold Frequent Flyer. Thank you for the ongoing support. Hope you're well. Joey's saying hopefully the New Zealand World Update will get a nice international airport. Well, Auckland has been done by Flight Beam Studios. Beautifully done as well. Really, really nice. Wellington's been done as well. I would imagine we're going to get Christchurch because do you guys remember NZA Simulations? They said a little while ago now that they were going to create Christchurch for Microsoft Flight Simulator, and New Zealand was being absolutely hammered with lots of attention from developers across the sphere of the Microsoft Flight Simulator world. They were effectively I mean, pretty much every airport, I'm trying to work out how to word it really, every airport, so Auckland, Queenstown, Wellington, all of the major airports across New Zealand have all been done except for Christchurch. MZA Simulations were working on one. Now all of a sudden, it means that that's the only main international airport left, I think. Dan, thanks buddy.
Been away with work for quite some time, but back now and ready to dive back in the community. Missed your great work second half of last year.
Great to hear, Dan. Welcome back. It's good to hear you're okay as well. Good to hear you're well. And thank you very much for the super chat. Very generous of you. Yeah, my money's on NZA Simulations selling their Christchurch scenery to Asobo/Microsoft to be added into that New Zealand World Update. I don't know what you guys and your thoughts are on that theory. But it seems to me there's a lot of incredible freeware scenery available for it, but there's also some incredible payware scenery across all of New Zealand, including that Orbex New Zealand mesh as well, which might, I'd imagine, might break with that update actually. If they're improving the photogrammetry and things, it might be a bit of a problem. Who knows? But I would imagine Asobo or Microsoft would have said to NZA Simulations, look, you're making the only scenery left that's some sort of an international airport. Could we buy that and put it into the World Update? Because otherwise, what are they left with? They're left with all of the tiny little airports across New Zealand, which would, I'm sure, be beautiful, but they like to add one international airport in, usually, don't they? Rab, check out Innybuild's Queenstown. That's pretty cool. Is it Innybuilds that created Queenstown scenery? There's another one, isn't there? There's 2 Queenstown sceneries for Microsoft Flight Simulator. And I'm now going to have to Google it. Yeah, Inniscene, Queenstown, and Orbex. No. Oh look, videos. Do you Google MSFS Queenstown? My video is the first one that pops up. New Innybuilds Queenstown for Microsoft Flight Simulator on the 20th of September 2021. Incredible. There's another one as well. Yeah, the payware Queenstowns are spectacularly nice. And the NZ mesh is very good too. They're Poland, and then your energy bills too. Someone was asking in the chat, oh there you go, Juliet Charlie Mike, what do the numbers next to the TCAS airplanes mean? Newbie question, no problem at all. Zoom in. So the 00 means they're basically level with us. So we can also expect on that theory that they should be flying in the same direction as well, because of that semicircular rule that we've sort of spoke about in various videos and streams before. So we're flying east at the moment and south. We're flying to an odd flight level. In Spain and France, if you're flying north, it's even. If you're flying south, it's odd. If you're flying anywhere else, if you're going west, you'll fly even flight levels. If you're flying east, like we are today, then you use an odd flight level. That's the simplest way to basically split it up. And if you split it up in the compass, you basically just draw a line through it. So 0 to 180 for east and west. Anything either side of that straight line helps you work out if you need to be odd or even on your flight level. So we wouldn't expect them to conflict with us unless they slow down, or we're flying so fast we catch up with them perhaps. Similarly, if they're then flying into the arrival at Innsbruck, if they're flying to the same location and they slow down too early, then we're going to catch up quite quickly, and we might then enter that hold at Rattenberg. Yeah, 00 basically means they are at the same altitude as us. -01 means that they're 100 feet below. If it was a plus, they're above, I think, off the top of my head. If we get a TCAS thing sort of move past us, we'll have a little look to see if he's above and below, so we can actually demonstrate what the numbers mean by actually seeing it in action, but we'll keep an eye out for it. MATUG, LMOX. What we can do is put in some descent winds as well. So we're expecting the TULSI 3 Alpha arrival into Innsbruck. I'm curious actually to know what you guys might want to see. Salzburg, TULSI. Rattenberg. We're not coming in over Salzburg, so we're going to go Munich into TULSI, then Rattenberg, 9,500 feet. Every now and again, basically, I'm checking to see if we have any ATIS at Innsbruck. This is the arrival that we're looking to do. So the TULSI 3 Alpha RNAV arrival for all runways. We're actually going to be flying in over Oberpfaffenhofen, pretty much. So Munich's up here, somewhere at the top left of the chart, below all the plates. And then we're going to work our way down through into TULSI, 9,500 feet, at or above. Rattenberg's a big one though. At or above 9,500 feet at Rattenberg's NDB, which is where the published hold is. In fact, last time we flew into here, we flew in at night, and we ended up in the hold at Rattenberg, and it was absolutely awesome. If you guys remember that. Brings back some memories. From there, we've got a couple of options really. We're either going to be flying... Let's see. Well, we could do the RMP Zulu runway 26 approach. That could be interesting. We've never done that before. RNAV East, or RMP East runway 26. Like so. From Rattenberg again. Actually, no, that's not from Rattenberg. Yeah, so we can either do the RMP Zulu runway 26, and we can land into wind, 3 knots variable winds at Innsbruck at the moment, so it doesn't really matter too much, but 26 is their primary runway. We could do the Lockar runway 26 approach, Rattenberg to Advig, and then down on that basically an offset ILS of 3 degrees, straight in approach. Or we could do the good old circling approach, that special lock DME East procedure with the visual circle to land element. And if there's no ATC, it's up to you guys to decide what we do. So, I will start a poll. Dan, yeah, we do. Sometimes it can take up to an hour to resync, but I would usually do it on my phone, but because my phone's broken, I can't actually tap very much. Let me set up a poll here. Horario said radar just came online, there is ATC. Jack has a good question. He says, can you ever request a specific arrival from ATC? For example, requesting a VOR DME arrival instead of an ILS. Yeah, you certainly can. If you're flying in somewhere that only has tower, for example, then my advice there would be to just ask them via text. So go .chat or right-click on their name in vPilot on their controller frequency name. So, I don't know, say LOWI tower. You can right-click that and click send message. I think it is. Yeah, so right click and then you click open private chat and you can send them a message in advance and say, hello, sorry to bother you, I'm flying inbound, estimated at whatever time, could I request a could I do a VOR approach? So they can clear you in advance rather than you call up and have some problems. Same with any other controllers really, you can ask in advance, certainly via chat, quite a good way to do it, so then they're already expecting it, and they're more likely to accommodate it in advance. If it's super busy, they might say no, unless you're in an aircraft that can only do, for example, VORs, and then you don't have a choice. If you can only fly VORs, you can't fly ILS or RMP, then you can't do an RMP approach. So there's the poll. It's set up for you guys to choose. It's dependent on if there is no ATC online, of course. Horario said there is ATC that has now come online, interestingly, so we're monitoring to see if an ATIS comes up or not. Rama, welcome. I have a problem with my flight plan normally. When I watch streamers, they have specific altitudes for waypoints on the flight plan, but for some reason I don't, and it ruins my approach. Do you have Navigraph Ultimate with the nav data? Look at them clouds, my goodness. We've only got an en route controller at Innsbruck at the moment. Wind's variable at 2 knots, so we could, in theory, do whatever approach we want. Those clouds and the layering there is just spectacular. And this is the problem that it's given me, really, because I've spent the last 2 years enjoying the sim in 1080p, and I've now started to really push my rig to its complete maximum limit at 2K. And now it's kind of drawn me into the question of, if it looks this good in 2K, what does it look like in 4K? And now it's planted that seed that's growing rapidly, that's making me want to upgrade, and upgrade big. I can't help it. It doesn't help I'm impulsive as well. Yeah, Dan, absolutely, absolutely. So Raman was asking about a problem with the flight plan normally when I watch streamers, specific altitudes for waypoints on the flight plan. That's going to be constraints. Ram is saying he does have Navograph Ultimate, so make sure you have things like, well, make sure the nav data is installed using the nav center if you know what that is. Sometimes what they'll have is something like data enabled in the aircraft. Oh look, we'll get back to that in a second. We were talking about constraints. Somebody asked about constraints. This is +11, and he's actually going to fly past us. So we'll look out for him. We'll see if he's low in the cloud, we won't see him, or if he's above. But it's +11, so we should be 1,100 feet above us. Good morning, Mike. Unless he's too far, let's see, this is 10. It's going to pass 10 nautical miles on our left. Yeah, do you have specific altitudes for every waypoint? No, not for every waypoint, only in the SID and the stars. So on our departure out of Heathrow, we were going through that, and departure we had constraints that were at 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 feet, that sort of thing. And then we overrode those constraints in the initial climb out as well once we'd cleared traffic around us. So that's the only kind of time you're going to have constraints, really. Oh, we're literally cloud surfing at 35,000 feet pretty much. The Sledge says Luke suffering equals great entertainment. I suffered a lot in the Mad Dog the other day. I really stressed with that. We're looking for him. If we don't see him, we'll have a look at his altitude and things on... Yes, there he is. So that is saying +10, so he's 1,000 feet above us. Now you might not be able to see him. He's right there, where the cursor is. Literally 1,000 feet above us. So +10 on TCAS is 1,000 feet above you. In relation to your position, he's 1,000 feet above us. If it was -10, then he would be 1,000 feet below us. So that there, Rama says 1525Z. That's telling us we're expected to be at BOMBI at 1525 Zulu because I've turned on data. We can turn that off though. But if we look at our waypoints here in the FMS, flight level 350 is our cruise altitude. So because we're at cruise, all of those waypoints here have that altitude attached to it, in addition to our cruise speed of Mach decimal 79 today. When we're looking at BAVAX, MANAL and TULSI though, that's the VNAV basically saying, hold on, I need to start descending at this point to get to TULSI at flight level 100. So the VNAV brain of this is already working. That's where VNAV's really important, because it can look at all of these calculations and start to predict times of descent and things for you. When we add this star in a little while, as we looked on Navograph a moment ago, it will have Rattenberg and it will have at or above 9,500 feet, because that's the constraint at that waypoint. Same with Tulsi, it will have at or above 9,500. Salzburg as well, if we were coming in from that direction, or Nanit, if we were coming this way, be 15,000 at or above. So it all depends on the SIDs and the stars. Detling VOR that we departed on, the Detling SID, our nav display had Epsom, and it was between 4 and 6,000. The next waypoint was between 5 and 6, and then 29 DME from Detling was 6,000 feet. Same with Detling itself. So It's only really SIDS and stars that you're going to notice that. Gridfree says, do you need Navigraph to be able to import all of that data? No, you don't. The sim updates every month anyway with the latest Air Act, so it should feed the data in, but it just depends on how well that data translates into the aircraft you're using in the sim. But you can also overwrite them. Remember, it will do if you're putting it all in, but if you're doing longer routes, you're not going to have a star for the arrival in yet. If that makes sense. Like for this one now, we're flying into Innsbruck. I could have put in the lock approach for runway 26 with the TULSI arrival, but I've just left it out. But when we get a bit closer and we commit to that arrival, you'll see the data actually get fed into the FMS properly. Hopefully that'll answer the question a bit clearer. Mike asking, if you're on Unicom and a controller asks you to contact them during cruise, do you just contact and report your altitude, inbound waypoint, etc.? Yes. Yeah, so if we were speaking to Vienna radar now, Wien radar, we would call up, so Wien radar, Osprey 165, flight level 350, inbound BOMBI. And then they would say radar contact if they can see us, or they might say squawk 1234, whatever the squawk code would be. We update that in the transponder box, we read it back, and then we put it in the box, and then they would tell us radar contact. Peter, it's AirAx for the 737. You need a Navigraph subscription for Navigraph Ultimate. As Brian's saying, is it a bit of a game changer? Sim brief's a bit hit and miss. It's not particularly smooth with flight planning at the best of times. Dan was saying, sorry for the reframe, but are Osprey flights on FS Hub still a thing too? Certainly are. Can you see the club lounge yet, Dan? If not, I'm just going into Chrome on my computer to force sync the memberships. I can remember how to do it. Integrations. There we go. YouTube sync. Bingo. Now you should see it. Marario, no, unfortunately not, but if you wait in the next few months, we're expecting the PMDG 777 at some point this year, so really looking forward to seeing that. That's going to be worth every penny. There's no Boeing wide body, it's an Airbus A330neo freeware by Headwind that's probably worth checking out, unless you don't really like the Airbus too much. Yeah, Rama, flight sim is very complex, especially if you're looking at aircraft like this. Such deep system depth involved. You've got to kind of try and learn the systems of the airplane and the way that it works and stuff as well. Brian put his setup into Discord. Let me try. I'm trying to find it. My goodness. First one is a GA setup, the second is airliners. My God, you've got the whole lot. That is really impressive, Brian. My goodness. It's in the in real life pictures section of our Discord server if you wanted to have a look at Brian's epic setup. Cool. No results for LOWI. Rama, I do not know. Let's look at our descent forecast. So it's 18,000, I think, isn't it, at Innsbruck? Might have it wrong. No, hold on, because SIDS 10,000. It's going to be about 13,000 with the QNH being so low. So I'll go for flight level 130 maybe for now, as a bit of a safety net. High to low, down you go is a rule that I've talked about before in videos. So we are standard pressure, which is QNH 1013 or in inches of mercury 2909 at 2. When we change to the local pressure at Innsbruck, we mentioned it in the METAR a little while ago. Let's just refresh it. The QNH there is 984 hectopascals. So it's about 1,300, was it 30 feet per hectopascal that you've dropped. So I can tell you how many that would be. It's 29 hectopascals difference, which then is 870 feet difference in altitude. So high to low, down you go. So if we are at, say, flight level 100 standard pressure, and we then go to that local pressure at Innsbruck, we're actually at 9,130 feet, which then could bring us into conflict with terrain. So if you're flying into an area with low pressure, you're actually lower than you realise once you tune to that pressure altitude. Patrick, what's the add-on you're using? Patrick was asking. That is Flow by Parallel 4.2. I've got a GSX custom script and a VATSIM ATIS custom script as well, and also our controls visualizer. So if we do that, actually that would be quite a good one. Circling approach with the controls visualizer enabled, so you can see the actual control inputs that I'm making. It seems like that pole is a bit of a landslide anyway, doesn't it? So there's no ATC online and wind stay variable. Which approach do you want to see flown? There were 3 options and you guys have picked, well, 57 votes, 64% of those said they want the DME East circling approach of runway 08. That's circle to land at Innsbruck. I think it might be night time as well. Can you do that at night? I'm not sure. That would be interesting. Actually, yeah, that's going to be really tough if it's night time when we arrive. My goodness. Let's put it in anyway, just in preparation. So we want the TULSI 3 Alpha. Where is it? Lockar. So 0.9, 6.3, 4,400. Via Rattenberg. So we'll go with that. Let's have a look to see what that looks like in the plan. So we can step through this. Top of descent, then BAVAX, MANAL, Rattenberg NDB, then into Advig, and then we go to the business end of the flight, the real tricky part. We go final approach, locks, the lock approach initially, like so. And then by Mike Lima 26, so actually before that, 90 lock, we're going to break off and fly that circling approach. What we could do is have a little look at Navigraph to work out if there are any fixes that might actually help us as well. So we can pin that chart, visual approach, circle to land, and then there's a continued chart as well. So there's 3 charts for us to use here. We can add 4.2 DME from OEV, which is actually the offset sort of ILS, the offset localizer. So we can set a fixed ring there. So before we hit that fixed ring, we then break off and we fly south, which is here, 230 degrees. So autopilot and everything will be off. We'll be hand flying left, 230, or even using a bit of autopilot to help us keep it nice and level and straight. 230 down to 3,700 feet, and then flying downwind, 264 degrees track towards the church, St. Axam's Church, and then flying that descending base turn into final for arrival on 08. So we've got OEV there. We could do 4 mile, so just before we hit the fixed ring we've got a turn, and that's our cue then to turn and break off from that ILS, or that lock approach, sorry. And then we set 3.5 DME. We could set one there as well for the turn. Could be quite interesting. But I'm kind of tempted to leave it because that's going to be too conflicting. Actually, that'd be right. So 3, we can start the turn and then we don't expand. Yeah, that could actually work out quite nicely. So let's add those in. So fix. Now we want OEV. Up here. They're basically the same thing. We'll have that, and we want 3 and 4. I'm also going to do $19. And I also want to draw an extended centre line away from the runway as well. So we will have runway 26, and we want runway heading, which is 257, and I'll do it just for 5 miles maybe, or just 257. Stand by. Just tinker around with it, set it up as I want. So now I've got that big extended centre line, so I've got a visual reference for where that centre line extends out basically, which is going to be quite helpful. So if we now zoom out a bit more, there we are. I've created a big old quadrant on the charts to help us. Descent forecast. So we had 9 at 84 hectopascals. And then for descent winds, to help the aeroplane's brain work out where it wants us to descend through, we're going to go, let's pick a few, so flight level 310. 220 at 72. Flight level 150. 255 at 25. And then 10,000 191 at 9. Happy days. Yeah, the sun's coming down pretty quick now, isn't it? Ooh, drone camera doing its thing, going upside down. Brian says, when I first joined Fly UK, my first 737 flight was into Innsbruck. I was pooping myself. It's pretty tough, isn't it? It's full on. We've not flown into here for quite some time ourselves, so I'm probably going to be quite rusty. And the 737 is a lot faster than the Airbus on approach, so we've got our work cut out. Let's see, we can get some arty screenshots here. Let's go to Mach 80. MPS Gaming, good evening. Got a 67 knot crosswind right to left, slowing us down. No descent path after FF26. That is fine. Hopefully not, Andy. Who knows? Who knows? It's going to be, again, Innsbruck is one of those airports you need accuracy rather than smoothness. So we're gonna go for a nice firm touchdown on the touchdown zone more than anything else. If it's smooth as well, happy days. Is a bit of a Brucey bonus, but if not, I'm not too worried. So it just needs to be accurate on the touchdown zone so we can get those brakes active and get stopped in time. What have we got here? 192.16 7881. Should probably fire up VAS Airplane Toolbox to just double check these landing figures. This is going to be runway 08 technically, 1 degrees currently, 210 degrees at 4 knots, tailwind of 2 knots, crosswind of 2 knots, certainly fine. We're going to go for contaminated runway because I'm assuming it's going to be contaminated with the way it works. Engine bleeds off because I'm going to actually try and get the APU fired up for it instead. Versus both, auto land no, anti-ice we'll have off, but we'll play it by ear. Okay, that doesn't work. Available landing distance available of 2,000 meters is too short for flat 40. Maximum landing weight 54,737 kilograms. We'll go for damp and ice. Oh no, we'll go for dry and ice. Okay, yeah, so dry and ice. It's auto brake max to stop with 768 meters left. We could use auto brake 3 as well at a push with both reverses. Engine bleeds off as well, according to VAS Airplane Toolbox. And also we need to make sure our pressure elevation is set for the aeroplane to know what to depressurize to, and that is going to be 1,900 feet at Innsbruck. There is the dog going mad and somebody at the door. You guys know, or at least those of you in the members lounge know that we had some issues. Hold on, have we hit top of descent? Yeah, we have massively. My new phone's arrived basically, so this evening I'm going to be spending some time setting that up. Like it says, first time I flew into Innsbruck ATC, asked my intentions. I then said what they were. I said no, I'm not gonna. That's not gonna happen. Vector me almost all the way to Vienna and back. My goodness, that's not good. Jonathan, hello buddy. Amaruk, welcome. Very good, thank you. Hope you're well. As long as we are at Rathenberg at 9,500, I'm not that bothered. So let's help the jet out. We'll pop a bit of flight detent out. Oh, is that master caution for air conditioning? Off schedule descent. Ooh, that's not good, Amrik. Sixby says I have an issue every time I fly the 737 when I'm at cruise. The nose is always booping up and down. Any ideas why? It depends really on what's happening with weather, your loads and everything else as well. We would have to sort of try and work out what could be causing it all really. I reckon we could do auto brake 3 and reverse thrust. And I reckon we might have to enter the hold of Rattenberg if I've buggered this up. There's an aircraft going above, right to left. Look at that.
Unix traffic Lufthansa 1526, runway 08 right indicated.
Got a bit of anti-ices on as well for this chilly descent. We'll break 3 on our VNAV. It's going to be flap 40 touchdown, which we've not done in a long time actually, so we're going to try that as well. Going to help us fly a little bit slower. You know what we haven't done? Minimums. So the circling approach minimums are 5,000. My goodness. Let's start scrolling. Hold on, no they're not. $3,700. So I'm just changing that baro setting on the PFD at the moment. So much scrolling. We've got to make sure we've set it correctly, that's the thing. We've got 3,700 feet. 3,700. QNH was 984. Let's bring those spoilers out of flight detent. I'm going to arm them for now as well. Weights and things is what we need to think about next. So we've got catch up on the live chat in a second. Weights 62. Lap 40. Treble 1-1. Treble 1-1. Inbound course of 254. What else have I missed? Rattenberg 303. Like so. 320 rum. We can check that as well just in case. And then 1097. Should we stuff it up? Straight to that. The missed approach. What else? Busy, busy. Runway lights just came out at Innsbruck, Rab says. Exciting. Jack says, you've been about Dirac notation and watching our stream today. Can't think of a better way to spend your afternoon. Awesome. It is one of the best sceneries. It's pretty spectacular, isn't it? I mean, look at that. Imagine actually being a passenger though and flying in somewhere and seeing this. It's pretty special, isn't it? Oh yes, treble 1-1. Thank you, buddy. Great spot there from Captain Biggles. Free transition. Let's change. See that drop in altitude now. Massive drop. And let's transmit. Innsbruck traffic, Osprey 165 737 800 with a QNH of 984 hectopascals. Inbound Rattenberg, 10 track miles to the north. Inbound for the special lock DME east approach, circling 08. We'll report Rattenberg, Innsbruck traffic. We are still on 1228, that is active, happy days.
Sorry, confirm the Innsbruck runway 08.
No, I think 26 is active, but circling approach is able to be done with the variable winds. We're just doing that.
Roger, thank you. European Flight 16, we are approach runway 26, RMP approach.
Roger, I think I've got you visual actually on my 12 o'clock, so I'll work around you. Inbound turn. It's not 045, is it? 045. Go away, go away, go away. Oh, what? What are we? 260 knots. Let's go, spoilers. Innsbruck approach, Osprey 165 is circling the hold one time at Rattenberg for spacing. The terrain map on. Where's my checklist? Dun 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 dun. Let's do that. Altimeter is set. Master caution for air conditioning with an unscheduled descent still. What's the pressurization system doing? Still depressurizing normally, so that's fine. And let's start the APU. That's both a continuous ready. We've got engine anti-ice. We'll turn off for now. We'll leave wing anti-ice on for a wee bit. Yeah. Let's keep the turn. Zero 045. Don't know why that's just sped up so quickly all of a sudden. Want 220 knots. It probably didn't help actually that I
Innsbruck traffic, you're going to 1516, we're as by noon and we...
minimum set, flat 40, that's all set, that's good, that's
Innsbruck traffic.
all good. Innsbruck traffic, Osprey 165 is exiting the hold, Rattenberg inbound for the Lockdimi east approach. We'll report braking for the circling approach, Innsbruck traffic. Let's go. Guys, hello. Lap 5. Back to LNAV for now. Get speed to 180. Lap 10. So we've set auto brake to 3, we're going speed brake, we want arms, not into 10. Landing lights on. APU bleed. Just sorting itself out here. Sammy, it can do, yeah. Here we go, folks. Innsbruck, circling approach 08. We've not done it for a while. Let's see if we can pull it off in the 737-800. Heading mode. Patrick, basically I need to divert the pressurization system to the bleed air of the APU. That's why. What's it going to be? It's going to be about 900 feet per minute, roughly, I think. I'm going to set 3,700. Yeah, basically I want more power out the engines, effectively. Advig is where this little spike of the terrain is there. Let's see, I want that one, I want this one off. Two, 5, 4. Okay, here we go. Let's bring that in. We're at the 19 DME fixed ring. We want drag to help us. 180, flat 40, 137. 142. Master caution. Air conditioning again. That's fine. We're aware of what that is. We've checked the pressurization. It's all working fine.
2,500.
Bumpy over them mountains. Sam Lackey, welcome buddy. Bronze frequent flyer, new channel member. Thanks for joining. Let's go gear down flat 15 now. It's a steep approach. I want basically a little bit of assistance from the aeroplane to help counter that drag. It's quite bumpy as well. You guys want this as well, so let's get the control visualizer fired up. 60 till 4.
Heathrow traffic, you're in front 516, the gate is runway 26, 26 cleared, Heathrow traffic.
Yeah, he's doing Vienna and Salzburg and all that, Jonathan. Sam, great to hear. Make sure you link your YouTube account into your Discord user settings. It'll get you access into the club lounge. What have we got? 9084, that's set. We're on VOR lock and glide slope. We're on 140 for the approach today. Flat 15 currently. Minimum at 3,700 feet. Visibility is okay at the moment actually, even at this light setting now as we've got it. So I'll turn terrain mode off for a little bit. And I also need to make sure terrain inhibit mode is active. Inactive, sorry. I want to make sure that ground proximity warning system is not active anymore. Lap 25. Charlotte, hello to you. It's the Volanta stream overlay. Two stages of flap left. We'll extend to flap 40 on the downwind leg as we kick out. So just before that outer fixed ring there, going to break off to 230 degrees. Yeah, it's the Volanta stream overlay. Go flap 30. We have one stage of flap left. First time landing with flap 40 in a very, very long time. Gear down 3 green. That's all set. Let's make sure all the lights are down. Here we go. So we're going to break off down here. There is so there's the runway. Effectively, here somewhere is a ski slope. We want to fly, in fact, there it is, right in the centre of the screen. We're flying over that. Then we're going to fly downwind up towards the church, which is near to where those big bright lights are, but it's actually down here somewhere on this raised bit of terrain. At that point, then we're going to turn in the valley round back on ourselves to come and land on the 08 approach. But now with that the Parallel 42 Pro control overlay thing, you guys can actually see now the control inputs on the bottom left of your screen. So 4,200, levelling off in just a mo. Let's go. Auto throttle off. Innsbruck traffic Osprey 165 is turning crosswind for the circling approach 08. We'll report downwind. Innsbruck traffic.
Minimums.
Hey, turning. Recycle those flight directors. Might as well hand fly the whole thing, eh? Speed's good, altitude's looking okay. A little bit of maybe retrim and a bit of throttle adjustment perhaps. There's the ski slopes. Having to trim a lot here, it's actually quite bumpy. Next point, valleys. In the turn to 264. Innsbruck traffic Osprey 165 is turning right downwind, circling approach 08. Innsbruck. 3,700, still holding it. 264 track, that's what we want, roughly. All flat to 40. Speed. 5 knot crosswind. We want 142. Final approach speeds. 3,700. Interesting. I've got the crosswind coming off here from the side of the aircraft on the left down the valley. It's kind of pushing us a little bit. Very interesting. Quite tough. There's the church, just on the nose now. Here we go. Innsbruck traffic, Osprey 165 is turning final, circling 08 Innsbruck. So what we got, 25 or so degrees at the moment. Let's bring that throttle back a little bit. We'll extend that to 30 degrees.
Traffic, 45, on the final 406, kind of minimum speed for the last traffic, for the line of traffic.
Well, I definitely can't answer that, can I? For only the dog to get the door for me. Overblown that a bit. We've got that almost 10 knot crosswind actually. Look, it's blown us well away, so not the smoothest. The dog's gonna get right in the way of the stream. And I heard somebody on final. It's fine. Plenty of space to recover this. We're flying effectively what is a visual approach anyway. Would you know it? My shopping has arrived an hour early.
400.
He's literally looking out the window at the moment, barking at the guy. All going wrong. It's like supposed to be sterile cockpit.
100. 50. 30. 20. 10.
It's got to be firm.
Innsbruck traffic on a 14-mile final for 26.
I'm going to have to answer this.
Innsbruck traffic, the EasyJet behind, what's your speed? Yeah, I'm currently doing about 130 because of the landing traffic.
Right, here we go. Short and sweet, folks. Tesco's arrived about 30 minutes too soon. Innsbruck traffic, Osprey 165 is vacating 26 to the gate. There we go. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to end the stream there because I don't want my shopping to drive away at the last second. So I hope you guys have enjoyed the stream today. Welcome to all of our new channel members. Dan, welcome back, and thank you, Dan, for your super chat as well. Very generous. And Patrick too. Keep an eye on the channel over the next few hours. I'm hoping to sort out the stream schedule for tomorrow, if not the day after. But in any case, hope you've enjoyed Heathrow to Innsbruck. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you very soon. Take care.